Hey everybody, welcome back. The Bad Pennies are back.
Yep.
I'm Sho.
Still in the same clothes, so
Yeah.
I'm Alan.
Yep, there we go. And we left you guys hanging on. We're talking about trust now.
Trust and relationships. All right, so the last podcast we give you two axioms. One was that number one. Did I just repeat myself? Yes, I did. So is that it takes two yeses and only one no to have a relationship. So as soon as there's one no, that's it. It's over. It's done. And yet men often continue to try to change the other person's mind. And I think that way too often it's because our ego doesn't like to be told no. All right, but the reality of this is that your ego can't be really engaged and have a good relationship with someone. It doesn't matter who it is.
Okay, that's right.
All right.
Yeah.
And if your ego's engaged, then your the cost-benefit analysis won't work for the other person.
Right, and that's what we were talking about before we started rolling the cameras. Too,
yes.
About the no's that people don't want to hear.
The no's you don't want to hear when your girlfriend tells you no. But look, and we talked about how your character is so important in the quality of your relationships as well, and that if you're just there to get for yourself, then you're not really able to be able to pay properly to pay the cost of the relationship, so that the other person gets what they need. And that's often why we end up getting no's, is because the other person just gets fed up with actually having to pay and not get benefit.
Okay. And
part of being in a friendship or in a relationship of any kind is that we pay up, and so that the other person gets benefit. And what you'll find and see that unless again, this is where being real with yourself around who that person is and what the relationship is, what's really going on in the relationship. If they're only taking and not giving back, then you're going to be the no. Then it's time to say no from your end of the deal. Okay.
Okay.
So
then we move on to
trust.
Trust.
So the second axiom of relationships that we left off with in the last podcast was that trust is the foundation of all relationships.
Trust is the foundation of
all relationships. So let's just talk about a couple things about trust. First is that it's not a bad word.
Okay,
it's not a bad word. It's because it is the foundation of all relationships, which means how many billion people are on the planet now?
I don't.
4,
I last count
8. I don't know. A lot. There's a lot of people.
I think it was 8 billion.
8 billion. 8 billion people.
I don't want to fact check that.
That's 4. That's 8 billion opportunities to just trust one person. And if you're trusting more than one person, that we're talking about trillions.
Okay.
So trust is a big deal in the world.
Okay.
It's a big deal, and when it's not in the world, it's a big problem.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a big problem.
It can be, definitely.
And we've seen that even in our what's going on in our politics these days about people not trusting each other.
Yeah.
So
I can say I have trust.
And look, there are reasons. Yeah. Again, we've all become trustophobic.
Yeah.
In many ways.
Aversion. Like I have
yes,
aversion.
Yes. You have an aversion to it because you see trust again comes with risk. Mm-hmm. We were talking about risk and the other things. So, and what I said was, if the relationship isn't worth risking, it's not worth having.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you can't have it without trust. So you can't go into any relationship thinking that you can do this without having to trust them or them having trust in you.
Okay.
Period. That's just what it is. I mean, it's like building a house without a foundation. It won't stand. It will not ever stand. So you have to have trust. And so we're going to break it down into little. So again, we're doing this kind of off the cuff. We didn't prepare. We didn't prepare what the last couple podcasts but the subject came up, and it became, we realized that it was important enough to talk about. So, trust. First place, here's a rule about trust. Know what you can and can't trust about another person.
Right. And
so here's the axiom. Don't be stupid with trust. It's a vital element. It is absolutely necessary. You cannot have a relationship without it, but don't be stupid with it. And the reason that people get, have an aversion to trust, or I like trustophobic personally, but is that they've trusted and gotten burned.
Yeah.
And I would not say that every time that was because you didn't do your due diligence. But again, all things, why would you go, if relationships are a business deal, or transactional, all relationships are transactional, why wouldn't you not do your due diligence to know what you can and cannot trust about a person?
Okay.
All right. So that's one. So you got to know what you can and cannot trust. Now, we'll get to the next level of trust in a moment, but we're going to just kind of stay right there on the basic level right now, okay? Understanding that, like, if you needed some plumbing done, you don't call your roofer to do it or your electrician. You call a plumber, right? Because, you can trust your plumber
to do plumbing,
right?
Okay.
Okay. So you wouldn't call your plumber to come and babysit your children. You call your babysitter, because you can trust your babysitter with your children, but not necessarily. Well, I'm sure there are plumbers. We're going to get letters for this, right? Considering I have very close friends that are plumbers, they'll be the first ones to write me. But yes, I'm sure there are plenty of trustworthy plumbers that could babysit, but why would they, right? Because they're not going to make enough money. Their hourly rate is way higher than a babysitter, so they're out of the question. But you get the point, right? You know what you can and cannot trust. But when it comes to friendships, there's another level, and specifically our relationships with men.
Okay.
So we'll talk about that for a minute, and then we'll talk about the relationship with women.
Okay.
Maybe the next podcast.
So right now it's men trusting
specifically men, a relationship with another man. So when you have a relationship with another man, again, its foundation is trust, and it can be just as in the beginning, knowing what you can trust about each other, but ultimately, for the relationship to be a really powerful masculine relationship, and we're not talking, remember, we put romance and emotional and all of it, spiritual, that's all on the side. We're not bringing that into this conversation at all. It's out. We'll do that later, okay? We're just talking about a powerful relation, like you and me. Okay? You know that I would take a bullet for you.
Thank you.
And I would push you in front of a train for me, right? So, I'm kidding. And I'm not going to speak for him because I don't have to, but I know that I care about this man at a level that I would put myself in harm's way to protect him.
Thank you.
And so, and to have that kind of relationship, if the trust foundation wasn't there, you wouldn't want to do that. You wouldn't want to do that.
No, I don't think I would.
Okay.
No.
So it's.
There for me in that example. There are plenty of men in the circle where I first met you that I don't have that kind of trust.
That is correct. Relationship That's correct. You do not have that kind of trust with just anyone.
No.
Just they are.
You and I have a bond.
Exactly.
And we have an agreement.
But the trust. The level of trust is what's created the bond.
Yes.
It's not the other way around. Okay. You don't bond and then trust. You trust and bond.
Okay.
Maybe they're like really, neck and neck.
Yeah.
But you have that. Bonding happens over time through experiences.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fair.
Trust is something different, and here's why. It's not rational.
It's not rational.
It's not rational. See, knowing what you can and cannot trust about someone, that's rational. That's a rational level of trust.
Okay.
But we're talking about an irrational level of trust. It's
Instinct?
It's actually a gift.
A gift.
That you give. And you give it freely and with risk. Because it's going to be risky to give trust. And you need to. In our close bonding relationships that we have with men, that to have that close bonding relationship, you have to give it. It's not an option. Mm-hmm. If you withhold it, or always measuring it against someone's behavior, it's not the kind of trust. It's not that kind of trust, and it won't produce the kind of relationship that I would hope that men seek with certain men. Not all men, just certain men. Men that are of the caliber of human being that you would want to go in battle with, that you would put yourself in harm's way for.
Yeah.
All right? That you, and they would do the same thing for you. So it's a gift. And once you give it, you actually can't take it back. So you don't just, it's not like a deck of cards and you're just throwing out the deck of cards, right? It's something that it's a very sober and deep kind of thing that happens. It's very deep.
Yeah.
Personal. Mm-hmm. And once you've given it out, you can't take it back. When you've given your trust to another man at that level, then it can't be taken back, can't be revoked. Because you did something I didn't like.
Okay.
I mean, hell, I've done plenty of things you didn't like, right? Here we are.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've even pissed you off pretty good a couple times, right?
Yeah.
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 Kind of did that.
Now I remember.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right. So, didn't change the trust. See, because if it could, then it's not real trust, and it fucks with you can't fuck with the trust. Did I say okay? I said that twice. You're gonna have another beat. I just give them all kinds of fun things to delete from our podcast. So, but you can't mess around with it.
Yeah.
Once you've given it, you give it. And it really doesn't become a value really until it does. Let's start that again. The trust doesn't become valuable until it's challenged or needed in some way. So you can't mess with trust.
Can't mess with trust.
And it only becomes a value when it is tested.
Okay.
Or betrayed. Or challenged. All of the things will happen.
When you go into battle with someone and this is the person you're fighting side by side with.
Right.
That's when that really solidifies everything.
Not necessarily.
Like,
I wouldn't go into battle if it wasn't already solid. No, I wouldn't go into battle with them if it wasn't solid already.
Before the battle.
Yes.
So before the battle.
You don't go into battle to develop trust with someone. You're going to get killed, or they're going to get killed, or everybody's going to get killed. But
then once you're in a battle, then you forge that.
Once you're in the battle, right? Is where the other man has your back and you have his, and the work to know that happens before battle, not in it. During it, it's got to be handled in advance. And look, life for us in many ways is a battle.
Okay.
In many ways it's a battle. Just being, developing your character and becoming successful and being a good husband or father or whatever it is that you set out to do for your life, the path that you want to walk, it's a battle. to get there,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
And so, and remember when we did the podcast about pack wolf versus lone wolf?
Right.
Okay, so you know that that the best way to get there
Is in a pack.
as a pack or a
Right.
village.
Right.
You're more successful as a village than you are a lone wolf.
Right.
So you know, so again, the life requires a certain level of awareness if you want to really be successful. And not only of self-awareness, but awareness of how life works. There's people out there all the time that are saying, well, you know, I'm going to do it different. Well, there are things in the world that you can do different, but there are things in the world you can't. And know the difference. Because there's lots that can be changed. There's lots that can be shifted. But there are also basic ways the universe works that you can't change. So, and you could be angry about it, and you can bash your head up against it, you know, again and again and again until you're all bloody and passed out.
Yeah.
Or you can figure out how to use it. And really good, successful warriors, men, will learn how to use it to their advantage. You use everything in life to your advantage, right? Rather than getting angry at it, you figure out how to use it, how to shift it.
Okay.
Okay, and sometimes the shift may be just a personal context, a way of thinking about something, and then you shift the way that you think about it, and all of a sudden things start working. All right, so try it sometime. But we're talking about trust, and so you develop this trust before you go into battle. We know that's the only way it works. It's the only way it works. We figured that out 100,000 years ago. So if you want to write those guys, you can do that, but they probably won't get it. So it won't change that we've worked all of this stuff out over thousands of years. We don't need to reinvent the wheel when it comes to trust in human relationships.
Okay.
All right. And the thing is that once you've given it, you can't take it back. And you know that it will get challenged.
Yeah.
It will get, especially with men, it will. Men are just, you know, kind of funny creatures, and we do these weird, stupid things from time to time, and that will challenge the trust. But you don't stop giving it because it got challenged. In fact, if you do stop giving it, then you never really trust it. It's no value. There's no value. It's almost like it's like a currency among men. What level of trust we have with each other is like a type of currency, and that's unspoken. It's an unspoken, you know, type of currency. So once you've given it, like I said, you can't take it back, and it's lifelong.
Yeah.
And maybe, you know, in a podcast we'll talk about the super rare instances where you may want to revoke the trust, but it takes, for a man who's really given it to another man, it would take a lot. It would take a lot, and those things do happen. You know, it's life, right? And again, then you have to go back and you have to take a look at the transaction and see, is this a business deal that's working or not, right? That includes the trust, by the way, the trust element, because it is a foundation of all relationships, can't be overlooked. You have to take a look at that, and how much trust am I willing to give? And when it comes to the, you know, deep bonding kind of relationships that men can have with each other, that kind of trust is given as a gift.
Got it.
Once you have enough information and decide to give it, then it's forever. There's no going back. And how much time we got? Because I have a subject I want to talk about a little bit that's in line with that.
About 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Maybe we'll just cut it off here and do
Okay,
another
so before we
little
cut it off,
cliffhanger.
one thing that I want to say is that, like, one of the reasons why I may have a trust issue is because of people's abuse of trust.
Well,
right?
Or your inability to do a good job judging character.
I would almost disagree with that because I
Well,
would say
I'm just
that,
saying. That's not, it wasn't personal.
No. I'm just saying that I would disagree with me not being a good judge of the character. I think I did judge the character correctly, but that person then abused the trust that was given.
Okay, well,
You know?
yeah. So I've done that.
Yeah. So I mean, it's
Haven't
just
you done that?
abuse someone else's trust.
Yeah, just a little, even a little bit.
I don't think so. I don't. I would really have to. Let me think about it.
We're not worthy. We're not. I mean,
No. But really, I don't think I've abused people's trust before. I think that you know what? No, I would have to say yeah.
Okay.
I would have to say yeah because
all right. Well, the rest of us mortals that are not walking on water these days.
no.
No, I'm just kidding. But
Yeah.
yeah. I would say most of us have done it. Most of us have abused the trust. So we can actually spend a couple minutes and talk about then being when trust is given to you.
Yeah.
There's a sense of honor. When you know that a man has literally just said, look, I trust you with my life, then what comes into play is a sense of honor to be worthy of it. And you want to be worthy of it, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Don't you?
I would.
Don't you want to be I mean, I would hope that when you're given trust, that it brings up something for you. Maybe you've lost touch with it, but it's in there. And you want to be worthy of that trust that's given to you. And what are the things that you need to do to be worthy of it? Besides just returning the trust, of course. But I mean, there is that. Remember, it's the foundation, right?
It's the integrity. It's doing what you say you're going to do and doing the right things even when no one else is watching. It's standing up for what you believe in and what they believe in and being in agreement with each other and whatnot. And even calling each other on the bullshit.
Well, you don't have to be in agreement. You just have to be honest.
Yeah, exactly what I just said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Be honest.
Right.
And because again, you can erode the trust through lying and cheating and doing all the other smarmy things that we're capable of doing. Right.
But once you've given it, you can't take it back.
But you can't take it back. So when you do smarmy things, you cop to it.
All right.
Okay. And that's the way to honor the trust. Is that when you do that stuff that you know were not necessarily your best, you cop to it. You cop to it, and you do it humbly. You don't do it like, fuck you. I'll do what I want. I'll do what I want. I'll say what I want. Talk to the hand. So
and I can trust that Alan is always going to make me have to go back and put that little censor beep in these videos whenever.
Oh yeah, for sure. So there you go.
Yeah.
Be worthy of it. Be honorable about it, and don't. When the moment comes, don't be afraid to give it.
Okay.
To take the risk, because it does require risk.
It does require risk.
And again, you don't get the great reward if you don't take the great risk, right?
Oh, yeah, no risk, no reward, right?
That's it.
All right, so there you go. We got trust. We got a podcast on trust, and we're going to continue giving you great information.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope it was good information.
No, we're good. And, just like Bad Pennies, we will be back.